The development of a national integration water resource management policy for Dominica is one step closer to becoming a reality. General Manager of the WASCO, Bernard Etinoff, told stakeholders at a consultation this morning at the Fort Young Hotel that an effective IWRM plan requires suitable legislation and policies. He says the public education and the creation of awareness to preserve the resource for future use is significant.
WRM plan requires suitable legislation and policies, and therefore requires the input of the legal authorities to review existing legislation, enhance or change those legislations, enact new ones where necessary, and adopt suitable overall policies as needed. It requires the involvement of the wider population, as the actions of communities and people in those communities can impact positively or negatively on the environment and, by extension, the water resources of the country. At the heart of the IWRM, therefore, is public education and the creation of awareness to ensure that there is wide acceptance at the community level of the need to preserve the resources for future use. Recent happenings here, like for example the recent drought, clearly pointed to the fact that the resources are very vulnerable and every effort must be made to take care of it.
He says sustainable management practices that seek to balance the demand for water and the impact of the environment is essential to satisfy the needs of its customers.
Whereas the WASCO has a mandate to provide potable water to all Dominicans, we do so with significant reliance on the natural environment, and hence we recognize the need to be environmentally responsible in all our actions. Good environmental practices are therefore central to the activities of the WASCO and are always considered when major works are being undertaken in an effort to limit any adverse impacts of such undertakings on the environment, and as far as possible we even seek to enhance the quality of the environment in any area in which we undertake our activities where we can make a difference. Sustainable water management practices that seek to balance the demand for water and the impact of the environment are therefore essential if we are going to satisfy the needs of our customers in a cost-effective and sustainable manner. We need more than ever before to take into our planning that our resources are finite and need to be preserved and enhanced for generations to come. These are the reasons behind Dominica's signatory to the Millennium Development Goals, which has as part of its major objectives the reduction of the number of persons living without access to potable water and suitable sanitation services, as well as Dominica's endorsement to the LBS protocol, which seeks to reduce water pollution from land-based activities.
General Manager of the WASCO, Bernard Etinoff. Meantime, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Lands, Housing, Settlements and Water Resource Management, Davis Letan, says Dominica has recognized the need for ratification of international protocol and to institute public policies to guide the implementation process.
I note the objective of this consultancy is to prepare a national integrated water management policy statement for the Commonwealth of Dominica, a policy intended for ratification at the highest political level, and will set the overall guidance for management of the country's coastal and freshwater resource and advocate for ratification of the Land-Based Sources Protocol, LBS. So it appears to me that the stakeholders present here will be engaged in a multi-sectoral approach to address water and threats to integrity of water supply. You must ensure, however, that the views of the community through community-based organizations and the representatives are carefully considered and featured in your policy statements and recommendations. This will be a most important determinant for success of this forum and for other fora to follow dealing with sustainable issues. Today, we are here to further our efforts to ensure that all the necessary policy statements and protocols are in place for implementing integrated water resource management principles and goals for sustainable management and development. As you are aware, Dominica is well known as the nature island of the Caribbean. We can even boast that it is the nature island of the world. Therefore, I am excited that this consultation is taking place at a time when we recognize the need for ratification of international protocols and to institute public policies to guide the implementation process, with a view to ensuring that our water resources are protected and remain pristine for present and future generations.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Lands, Housing, Settlements and Water Resource Management, Davis Letan. Acting Police Chief Cyril Corrett says authorities here have raised concerns over a scam currently being perpetrated through the internet by individuals who identify themselves by different professions. Correct says these persons offer attractive jobs or indicates to persons that they have won several thousands or millions of dollars in various lottery competitions. He told a press conference here today that several Dominicans have fallen victim to this fraud.
In recent times, the Criminal Investigations Department has discovered a scheme where counterfeit or fake money orders and United States travelers' checks are posted to people, advising them that they should cash the checks, return a percentage, and retain the balance of the proceeds via Western Union, money order, MoneyGram, or other similar means to names and addresses provided. Some of the addresses provided are in Peru. Several Dominican nationals have participated in that scam and have cashed these counterfeit money orders, travelers' checks, and forwarded the balance of the proceeds as instructed, while others have attempted to do so unsuccessfully. The police department wishes to warn the citizens of this country to disregard these seemingly attractive ventures, since it can make them accomplices, expose them in complicity in the criminal act, and allow international criminal networks to exploit the scarce resources of the country. Any person who has been in contact with these individuals and may have received any money order or other monetary instrument with a view to negotiate cash is asked to contact the Criminal Investigations Department in person or by the telephone numbers 767-266-5157, 767-266-5165, 767-266-5185.
Acting Police Chief Cyril Corrett. The organizers of a debate entitled "The Free Distribution of Condoms at School Will Curb the Spread of HIV in Dominica" says the discussion on the matter should continue at a higher level. The Dominica State College, in collaboration with the National HIV Prevention Unit, staged a first debate on the topic last night.
We heard a cry from Nurse Frampton at Kiwani's debates for an increased awareness among the youth about the issues which face them re HIV and AIDS. And we felt that, it was time to take the bull by the horns. I know we live in a conservative society, but we felt it was time to do a topic that would really draw in the young people, a topic that we know is a very real issue in Dominica. And the distribution of condoms did generate a lot of interest among the young people, and that is exactly what we were hoping for.
Biology lecturer and lecturer in charge of the Debating and Literacy Society at the Dominica State College, Judy Christian. Meantime, the proposing side won the debate. Rajiv Wallace was ahead of that team.
We realized that was an issue and that we need to address certain issues from their roots, and then it's only by through discussion with things like these we can weigh the pros and the cons and say, okay, well, hey, that's our solution.